Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Guangzhou Charge, the final team for this episode or this series. I don't freaking know. But they have actually made some drastic changes. So let's now go on over here. So in the DPS they've kept Eileen and Choi Se-won and but they've added Develop, formerly from the Shanghai Dragons. I think developed it decently on the Dragons when he was playing it. I mean, I think they did lose a map though, but I might be completely wrong about that. But see how he goes with basically one map playtime and one map experience for the in the Overwatch League. Hopefully, the Guangzhou Charge can develop him. No pun intended. But I'm surprised they've actually kept Eileen for this long, and also Rio as well. They kept Eileen and Rio for that long. They've also kept Krong as well from last season. But it's crazy to see how long they kept Rio and Eileen. That's how dedicated this team is to those two players. I think it might be. I think Eileen might be a lot better if he was in a different team, like maybe the Hunters. But at the same time, I can also understand why he wants to stay in this team. Pardon me, is because there's no other way. There's no other team he could go to other than the Hunters and the Spark. You can maybe also say the Dragons, actually also the Valiant, but who the hell wants to go to the Valiant of all teams? Sorry to say that, but I mean it's kind of a fact. But it's crazy to see how long these two players have been since the very beginning of the Guangzhou Chargers season 2. But either way, I should stop rambling about that. Choi Se-won did really good last year. I think he was definitely a surprise prospect, and I'm really excited to see how develop goes on the DPS slot. For support, they have uh, revamped the whole support lineup. So they've added Unique. I think formerly, I know he's like in a really good team. I know that he was at T1. There we go. See, T1. I mean, they're actually a decent Korean team, not like the best, but still decent. And they've added Molly, former Shanghai Dragons player, and obviously was recently crowned Overwatch League champion along with along with Develop. I cannot speak right now, but I think this support lineup is 100 times better than the previous one, and I'll get to that when I finish it off. Talk about this roster and the tanks. They haven't changed anything. They still have Rio and Krong. I'm expecting to see a lot more Krong this season. I think he did decent. I mean, not the best, but decent last year. It's crazy to think that 2020 was his first season in the Overwatch League. Oh my god. But I'm expecting a lot more from Krong this season. As for the former players, so they've I don't they added Joy Han um very early in 2021. I still don't know why the hell they added it, but they did for some reason. They've got rid of also Mike Callie as well, who I think did decently last year, but he didn't get a lot of playtime. That's why both Jaihan and Callie were two-way contract players. Kriv has gone to the Florida Mayhem, and Mandu is currently teamless. Now you see why I said that that Molly and Unique are a lot better support duo than Mandu and Kriv. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just 100 times better. I think their language might be also English as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the charge um communicates in English, but I might be wrong about that. Someone correct me there, but I don't know. So let's now move on to the coaches, and I remember if I think they have made a lot of coaching changes. So they have Cassis that's the team manager. So I think Sungwoo he joined mid season. Extra also joined mid season, and they've added Young Jin. If you don't know who Young Jin is, Young Jin used to be a Shanghai Dragons player in season 2, I think, when they um revamped their whole roster. Young Jin was basically the Doomfist player. He was inactive for a bit because I think he had military training. So I think it was Korean because of the mandatory South Korea military training that they had to do. But he is now back in the Overwatch League as a coach or as an assistant coach for the Guangzhou Charge. So I think they, and I didn't like. I'm trying to remember actually what happened. I know the coaching staff for the Guangzhou Charge were in an absolute shambles. I think maybe in more of a shambles, from like compared to the Hangzhou Spark. Because then they had like no coaches for like once or something. I actually can't remember. All I know is that it was crazy on the coaching lineup for the Guangzhou Charge. But they used to, but all these coaches, Neko, Arcane, and Damon, they were or every single one of them left mid-season. So Damon has joined the Shanghai Dragons. Arcane, Archon, I don't know how to say his name still. He has joined the one winner, so that is the Shanghai. No, that's not the Shanghai. No, he used to be yeah, there. He used to be the Guangzhou Chargers academy team, and then Neko, he has joined WGS Phoenix. I think also as their coach. Am I right on saying that? Actually, I think so. Yeah. No, I was wrong. I forgot he is also a Hangzhou Spark coach. Like, he's a coach. He's a coach for the Hangzhou Spark. I cannot speak right now. I apologize. Oh my god. But I mean, this looks decent. I mean, I don't know where Extra came from. I know Sung Woo was from the Valiant. Extra, he was from the Up Academy as a manager. So okay, so he was actually a coach for the one winner. Back when the one winner was actually the academy team for the Guangzhou Charge. God, those were that's a long time ago. Jesus Christ. But let's now move on to the ratings. Out of 10, it'll be the final time which I'll be doing this for this year. So the DPS consists of Eileen, Choice 1, and Develop. I think this is a very, very solid DPS lineup compared to everyone else in the East region, which has 7 teams. I'll give them an 8. I think an 8 is very respectable. 8 out of 10 for the DPS. I think the DPS core is still incredibly strong, like always. They've always been strong, I think. I feel like Eileen might be falling off a tiny bit, but I still think he's gone really, really well. I think he's also the only projectile player in this team. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, I think is Troy said one a hit scam player. I might be wrong about that. He's not. He's actually a projectile player. That is my bad. And Eileen, am I wrong about saying he's a projectile player? He's a flex player. He's a flex player. He's a flex DPS player. There we go. Either way, I think this roster is still really good. They cover most of the roles, if not all the roles. So I am not that surprised about that. For the support of Unique and Molly. Now, pardon me, if Mandu and Kariv were still in this roster, I would have downgraded them immediately because of how badly they were performing. And Mandu didn't do that much on the NYXL, and Kariv. I mean, I think in Valiant, I think in Season 1, I think he did a very, very good job. I think on the Defiant, he also did a really good job. On the Charge, it was a bit of a different story. He didn't do that well. I think I would have given them maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. But I think this support lineup is very, very decent. I'll probably maybe give them maybe an 8.5, or is that being too nice? Maybe an 8. I'm gonna get, you know what? I'll give them an 8. Oh my handwriting is horrible still. 8 out of 10 for the supports. I think, I think they might be the most, they might be an underdog, support lineup, I'll be honest. It might be an underdog. Something about this. I'm going to try also not to have a lot of high hopes like I did last season. We don't talk about what I predicted them last season because that was horrible. For the tanks, nothing has been changed. Maybe even an 8 out of 10, maybe even for the tanks, if not maybe a 7.5. I give it a 7.5. So all in all, this is a very, oh my god, was that A? All in all, this is a very, very decent lineup. This is a very, very consistent lineup in my opinion, and that may be good for them, may be really bad for them as well. We just have to wait and see. So 8 out of 10 for DPS, 8 out of 10 for support, and 7.5 out of 10 for the tanks. And let's now move on to the coaches, where we have Sungwoo, Extra, and Youngjin. Now, I don't know how good Youngjin is going to be as a coach. Is this his first time coaching? That is also my question. If it is, oh yikes. Okay. So he hasn't been in the game since 2019. 2019. Almost 2020, almost very close to being 2020. 2019 was the last time he touched his game. And then he announced his free agency in 2021 on the 7th, which would have been July of 18th. And then he got announced to be in the Guangzhou Chargers as a coach in February 12th. So he has not touched his game in a very, very, very long time, which I'm a bit worried about and a bit skeptical about. But I'm going to guess he's probably done a lot of homework, and he's analyzed a lot of games in Overwatch sake. But maybe I probably was give them maybe a 7. I think a 7 is probably the best, the best rating out of 10 for this coaching staff. I don't know how good Sungwoo's going to be. I think this might be the first time also being a head coach. So that'll be interesting. Extra has mainly been a manager for, as I don't know, I can really think of, for a very, very long time. And Youngjin, yes, he's a former player, but he came out of nowhere. I mean, he didn't come out of nowhere. He hasn't touched this game since 2021, and he retired 2019. That basically means a full year and a half, maybe even, or maybe a full year and a third of just I don't know. I can't do fractions of no Overwatch, and mainly just focusing on his life, his health, and military and all that stuff. He's been away from the game for a very, very long time, which kind of concerns me, worries me that I don't know how good this is going to be. But that is it for my Overwatch League Team 2022 preview. Yay, it's all done. Then after that, I'll be moving on to my power rankings. So what I'm going to do, I'll explain it a bit when we get to the video, but I'll explain a tiny bit here. Basically, I'll be first, so I'll be doing the full league standings. I'll be doing each region. So that's basically how that's going to go. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Catch you guys all later in the next one. Goodbye.
Striking down like a thunderbolt cloud. Time to get loud, how we do it, reppin' the south. Cause I'm too proud, losing count of the kills now. You one in the town, there's only winners allowed. All my shots up on a roll, getting down with Guangzhou. Toe tagging, body bagging all of the foes. That's another woe, guarantee never replace us. The greatest of all time is still an understatement. Sheep to the slaughter, blood in the water. Gotta go hide in the paint, like my name is Vince Carter. We so damn meta, like we got a vendetta against any team that could be